Hey everybody, Scott Luton with Supply Chain Now as we continue our coverage here at Gartner Supply Chain Symposium 2024. I'm joined by the one and only Katie Fowler with Unchained Value. Katie, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am doing wonderful. I told you this before we started here. Your reputation precedes you. You're like 8 feet tall. You have a bunch of big fans out here.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm flattered and honored. It's such a great community to be in.
It is. It is. A lot of old friends and new friends here this year at Gartner. So, Katie, I want to start talking about transformation, right? Transformation. We've stayed almost like in this constant state of transformation. And the cadence just seemingly, it picks up, it compounds, which has been another theme I've picked up on here. So when it comes to successful supply chain transformation, what's a couple of critical elements in terms of how we conduct that this year and beyond?
My favorite thing is looking at risk, but getting it from the people on the ground. So I call it bottom-up risk solutioning.
Bottom-up risk solutioning.
Yes, you're bringing all the people who are actually doing the work, either in your manufacturing plant, in your shop floor, anywhere that they're doing something, and you're bringing them together and you're saying, what are the risks that you see, right? And you're either going to get a lot of risks out of this, and the people are going to have a lot of risks that are combined together, and it's going to bring them together, or you're going to get a great continuous improvement pipeline from it.
Yeah, I love that. It's a kind of a twist on going to the Gemba, right? Where the value, the people that are the experts in the business, you got to tap into that knowledge, right?
Exactly.
And I think there's one other element, right?
Change management. You cannot have enough change management. You know, videos and emails and posters, they're a great start, but getting out there and engaging with your community is so much better, right? We had super users in one transformation that I did. I gave them capes, right? You make it fun. You make it fun and energizing to be a part of the transformation, and it will be fun and energizing for your organization.
Oh, well said. I love that, right? There's lots of ways, powerful ways, we can make work more fun and engaging. Because, you know, there's a variety of bad days, tougher days that come with running any business, right? No matter where you are in the business. Let's lean in and at least use some humor from time to time. I love the capes, right?
Exactly.
So you had comic book superheroes as part of that team, huh?
Yes. And then for our deployment team, when we went live, we had piñatas.
Oh, love it. All right. So capes and piñatas, the only way supply chain transformation can roll. Speaking of fun, so I was doing a little homework on you before we got together here today, and I loved how you snuck in a quote from the one and only Hannibal Smith from the A-Team in your part of your social footprint. Of course, Colonel, if you watched the A-Team back in the 80s like I did, I love it when a plan comes together. So we're going to use that as a fellow A-Teamer fan that you are to lead us to a question. When you look at supply chain planning, talk about something that's evolved for a long time, and then again, the cadence picked up, the evolution has picked up tremendously. What are a couple of observations in terms of how you're seeing that game vastly evolve?
There's so many ways, but I think planning no longer does it justice as a word. I think it's orchestration, because we're not only looking at, historically, it was the products that we're planning. We're looking at the flows. We're looking at the finance. We're looking at the information. We're looking at the services. We're looking at orchestrating anything that can drive value for our customers, whether they're internal or external, and making sure that that comes together. Yeah. In addition, we're infinitely more connected than we were 20 years ago. Right? And understanding that connection and how to utilize it and what time frames you should be focused on for it is very critical and key. Yeah. So to me, it's orchestration of things beyond products, even with your people. And even with sustainability, we're starting to see that being planned, emissions being planned. So it's that and connectivity for me.
Yeah. Katie, I love that. The holistic approach to planning is planning, that is a word, doesn't do it justice. It's so well put. And The planners, we're going to have to rename their roles too, right?
Conductors?
Conductors, I love that, of the orchestra.
Exactly.
Yes. We've got to talk about folks we need to engage and give capes to and pick their brain. Man, blessed are the planners. Goodness great. Or the conductors. Sorry, let me update all my phraseology. All right. Rethink Supply Chain is the theme here at Gartner 2024. And that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different folks. But if you had to pick one element to how you think we should rethink supply chain that maybe doesn't get enough attention or conversation around, what would that one thing be?
Understanding your core. You always need to go and rethink, and part of that is reevaluating and reflecting. So understand the core of your business, the core of your people, the core of your skills, the core of the value that you bring, and making sure that you're properly leveraging that value and really standing up your weaknesses, mitigating those as part of your risk solutioning.
I love that. It's kind of like finding your foundation that you can, build off of. And then one of the last points you made is we got to be honest with ourselves about our weaknesses, right?
Absolutely.
If we don't keep that real, it's tough to build much anything of consequence, huh?
Exactly. And understanding that helps us as leaders make our teams better and make them more humble and make ourselves more prepared for the next disruption or the next transformation.
Love that. Because the next one's coming, and the next one after that.
Exactly.
It goes with the territory, right? All right. So, great segue to this last question for you. So, imagine this: you've got a captive audience of the world's global supply chain leaders, right? And you've got one challenge that you have to throw the gauntlet down and issue them a challenge to do something. What would that be?
Occam's razor.
Okay, tell me more.
Occam's razor is a problem-solving principle, and it means essentially when you hear hoofbeats, you think horses and not unicorns.
Okay.
It's most often the most direct, the most simplest solution is going to get you the farthest, fastest. So it's always going to be the fastest way to get between 2 points is a straight line. So we in supply chain, we love to problem solve. And sometimes we tend to overcomplicate it. I am guilty of this myself.
Me too.
But we have to sit down and we have to say, what is the simplest way that we can get where we need to go? And what covers that 80% of the issue that we're trying to mitigate, that we're trying to solve, that we're trying to accomplish, and make sure we get there. Then we can go and start looking at the deviations once we've holistically looked at everything else. But it's about keeping it simple in a world that is so complex.
Yes, and so increasingly more complex, seemingly with every day that passes, right? Some days by the hour.
Exactly.
Occam's razor. I love that, and I love how in our pre-show here, you also brought up the one and only the Alfredo Pareto. So Occam's razor is kind of like a corollary to the great Pareto, the great Pareto principle. Sorry. All right, good stuff. We got to think differently, folks. Got to think differently. I love the Occam's razor analogy that our reference that you put out there. How can folks? And I like your sense of humor, by the way.
Thank you.
It comes across as I was doing my homework between your blog and the Unchained Value site. And as you mentioned a minute ago, let's have some fun. We're solving big problems. There's no shortage of pressure and burnout amongst the workforce around the globe. Let's have a little sense of humor. So
exactly.
How can folks lean into that, not only your sense of humor, but also all of your expertise and your growing new business, Unchained Value? How can they connect with you?
Well, you can find us on LinkedIn at Unchained Value. I'm under Katie Fowler. You can go to our website, unchainedvalue.com, or you can drop us an email at info@unchainedvalue. We're here at Gartner. We're floating around, so message us on LinkedIn, and we'll find some time to connect.
Wonderful. Big thanks, Katie Fowler, Unchained Value. Thank you very much. Great. Folks, stay tuned for more coverage as we continue to offer up key takeaways, expertise, and dynamos here at Gartner Supply Chain Symposium 2024.